God can revive your hopeless situation. Whatever it is that people have said, this is beyond us, there is a God who says that I am a God of impossibles. What things are you living by, right? The same things that you are using to live by today are the same things that you are going to cause your... Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back. Now today, guys, we are going to be talking about what goes around comes around, right? Or rather, we are also going to be talking about the 3 principles that we can learn, right, from the law of cause and effect. Now, some might have thought that only the law of cause and effect only applies in physics, but we see here that actually the law of cause and effect was there in ancient times. When the Bible was written, it actually proves that the law of cause and effect has been there, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, for you to find out more, stick around. Now, if you're listening to this message via the podcast, just keep in mind that you can now find us on YouTube at Ashley Gerera, and you can be sure to follow us as well on that platform. Now, without wasting further time, guys, we are going to be reading from the book of 2 Kings chapter 15 verse 10 and 14, right? That's where we're going to get our context for our message for today. 2 Kings chapter 15 verse 10 and 14, and it reads as follows. 10. And Shallum the son of Jabesh conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. 14. For Menahem the son of Gadi went up from Tirzah, and came to Samaria, and smote Shallum the son of Jabesh in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. Now, guys, as we just read, guys, now we realize in the Bible, now the Bible is telling us that this one slew this other one so that he could take the position of being a king, right? And then if we read again in verse 14, it says that then another one came and slew him again as well, and took the position of kingship, right? So now the point or number one lesson that we can get from this, right, is that what you do to another person is what is going to happen to you, right? And Shallum did not know this. Now, Shallum took the kingship by slaying another person that was there, and he spilled blood for him to get what he wanted to get, right? And then it also records in verse 14 that the same thing was also done to him, right? So lesson number one. Now keep in mind, guys, that our topic for today says that, you know what goes around comes around, or rather the law of cause and effect, right? So now on principle number one, as we say that today we're going to be talking about the 3 principles of the law of the cause and effect. Principle number one says that if you do not want it done unto you, right, do not do it to another. And this is the lesson that we are getting from here, guys. If you do not want it to be done unto you, keep in mind, do not do it to another. And if you take our Bibles and we go to Matthew chapter 7 verse 12, it says that in everything, keep that in mind, in everything, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, right? And that is the first principle that we get, right? If you don't want it to be done to yourself, don't do it to another person, right? And that is just what we get from Matthew chapter 7 verse 12. And here the Bible records and says that in everything, guys, it does not just say from in one point and then in the other one you can do other things that are not right for other people, but it says in everything, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, right? And we see here Jabesh, right, or Shallum, right, as he came to this point, he slew another person, which means that he wanted people to also slay him. Now, when we bring it to our daily lives, guys, in a workplace, right, so let's say you are working, right, and let's say you're employed somewhere and you're working, right? If you're wasting time at work and not doing what you are paid to do, the Bible says that in everything, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, right? Now, they might not waste your time at work, but someone out there is going to waste your time as well, because in wasting other people's time, you are saying that you also want other people to waste your time. This is what the Bible says, guys. It's not me who's saying this, because the Bible says that in everything. It does not say that in some things and then in other things you don't do unto others. No, the Bible does not say that. The Bible says in everything. So whatever it is that you do, guys, you know what? If you're wasting time at work, just know someone else is also going to waste your time. So also in other things that you do as well, guys, this same principle applies. If you don't want other people to return bad unto you, also do the same thing, guys, and return good unto other people. Even if people can do bad unto you. I know sometimes we sit there and we're like, you know what, but they did bad unto me. So am I really supposed to return good with bad? No, guys, the Bible says that in Matthew chapter 7, verse 12, right? The Bible says, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So if they do you bad, do not return bad with bad. No, don't do that. But rather, return the good that you would want to see being done to you. Also, another thing, guys, if let's say, for example, you go to people's houses and you get there and you sit there and you start to criticize the things in people's houses, right? Remember, the same shall be done to you. When people come to your house as well, they're going to start to criticize the things that are in your house, right? And this is just the message that we're getting here. For what you do, for the cause that you make as well, remember, there is an effect, recurring effect that is going to come towards you. And this is the lesson that we are getting from this point in the Bible, right? So as you go on about your life, or you one day visit other people's houses, just remember, if you start to criticize the things in their house, someone one day is also going to come to your house and to start to criticize the things in your house as well, right? And that is the message, or the first principle that we get on lesson number 1. Principle number 2, be conscious of your thoughts, right? And this is a point that we get. It says that principle number 2, be conscious of your thoughts. Now, you can only do what it is that your mind has thought about, right? Now, Shalom could not have gone and slayed the king had he not thought about it, right? So first he thought about it and he said, you know what? I need a plan. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to do it that way, right? So which shows that what you plant in your mind, the conscious thoughts that you put in your mind, or subconscious thoughts that you put in your mind, right? Things that you put, miscommunication, information, whatever it is that you plant in your mind. The Bible says that be conscious of your thought. Now also, guys, if we take our Bibles and we go to Luke chapter 16 verse 45, it then says that, you know what, you can only do good if you're thinking about good. You can also do evil if you're thinking about evil. And then it goes further to say, you know what, for out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks, right? And that is just what we get from this point, right? So be conscious of the thoughts that you put in your mind. That is why the Bible also, guys, goes further to say, you know what, guard jealously above all else. Guard jealously the things that come into your mind, right? Guard jealously. So if you are putting evil thoughts into your mind, remember, you are also going to bring out evil things. Remember the law of cause and effect. What goes around comes around. So now you'll be putting out evil into the world because you're not guarding jealously the things that you are putting into your mind, right? So it all starts from there. It starts from the mind, then you start to act it out in the public. And that is the message that we get from that point. That be conscious of your thoughts, right? Just don't plant anything that comes into your mind, guys. In a world that is full of information, everyone is fighting for a voice to say something to you, right? But I want to tell you today, be conscious of the things that you are putting into your mind. For what you put in your mind is what is going to come out of. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says that guard jealously above all else. You know what? I like another version. It says that, you know what, in all these things flows, where that is where your life is directed. Your mind directs where your life goes. And this is written in the Bible. If you read the New Living Translation, it then gives us that point of view and says that guard jealously what comes into your mind. From all of it, that is where the issues of life flow. And also the mind directs the courses of your life. So that is just another point that we get, right? So when you now guard jealously of the things that you've put in your mind, you're not going to be thinking about doing bad to other people. You're not going to be thinking of, returning bad with bad and all of that, because you're going to be planting good things into your mind, right? Which is then going to cause a good flow of things out of the system, right? So that is just what we get from that point. Now, if you are new to the channel and perhaps you have not subscribed, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss when a new video pops up, right? Now, principle number 3. Principle number 3 then says, what you live by, you die by, right? And you see here in the instant of Shalom, when he comes to this point, we realize that he lived by the sword and then he ended up dying by the sword. What things are you living by today, guys? I just want to tell you today, what things are you living by, right? The same things that you are using to live by today are the same things that you are going to cause your death, right? And if you take our Bibles, and Jesus, when he was speaking to Peter, he then says in Matthew chapter 26 verse 32, right? Matthew chapter 26 verse 52. It then says that put back your sword. Don't you know that those that live by the sword will die by the sword and perish by the sword? What things are you living by today, right? Now Shalom used the sword to kill another man, and the same sword was used to kill him as well. So the things that you use today, right? Remember, those things are also going to come back to you. Now, if you are putting good, then you don't have to worry about anything, for the same good is also going to be returned to you, right? But if you are putting bad out there, just know that bad is also going to be returned unto you, right? And that is the message that we then get as we conclude our message for today. So just to do a quick recap, right, on what we learned. Now, principle number 1, if you do not want it to be done to you, don't do it to others, right? Now, principle number 2, be conscious of your thoughts and guard jealously everything that comes into your mind. From it flows the issues of life. Point number 3, what you live by, you die by. And that is the message that we get from our message for today, right? So just remember those 3 principles. What goes around comes around, guys. So just keep those in mind. The law of cause and effect. And those are the 3 principles that we learn from this message of ours today. So may God add a blessing to your life. Do not be afraid of anything, for now the battle is no longer yours, but now the battle is the Lord's.